Well, it's a brand new day for me, and it's a brand new blog post for me to read. I never thought I'd be reading a fucking blog post in 2022, but here we are. The sumo stickers save the world from destruction. I'm gonna doubt that one for a little while, but let's see what you've got to say. The phrase sumo sticker has always seemed strange to me. The face may look like a sumo wrestler, but it's not actually. It's a fat man. No, we don't even know if it's a man. Could be a woman. One need only look at the hairstyle to find proof of this. The hair is parted, not brushed back, which means it's not being tied into a top knot. Of course, there are some real sumo wrestlers who don't have enough hair to form a top knot, but they all brush their hair back. No sumo wrestler has ever stood in the ring with parted hair. So what does the hair mean? Is it just some guy with parted hair? No. The hair, in fact, represents a temple. And in a temple, of course, you find a god. Well, you've got me intrigued, but it sounds like a load of bullshit to me so far. The sticker has 3 eyes. 2 overlapping faces should, of course, produce 4 eyes, which means that the number 3 is significant. The third eye is the eye of the mind. Since ancient times, the third eye has been used as a motif in conspiracy theories and urban legends. The eye that seeks truth. The Senrigan? The Senrigan? I don't know how you pronounce that one. I'm not up to date with my conspiracy theories. Or at least, not the ones that, you know, are utter bollocks. The Senrigan, the Anja Chakra, the Eye of the Pyramids. All of these things are represented as having power beyond human understanding. In other words, the third eye is God himself. The Eye of the Pyramid, that symbol of the Freemasons, is also known as the all-seeing eye of God, or the eye of the Egyptian deity Horus. I knew a few Freemasons once. They were alright. It's best I can say about an organized religion group. Those Freemasons, they were an alright group of people. In other words, the eye, God, sits beneath the hair, his temple. Do you remember in 2012 when the world was supposed to end during the Mayan apocalypse? But researchers have already proven that the original date given for the Mayan apocalypse was in error. The correct date was September 3rd, 2015. This date brings us to Egyptian mythology. According to a legend recorded on a fresco in the Temple of Isis, the world will sink underwater in September of 2015. And the goddess Isis is the mother of the sun god, Horus. Do you understand now? The sumo stickers represent God. I'm shaking my head, but you can't see that. Maybe one of these days I'll actually, record one of these with webcam. So you can see all my shitty, head movements. Trust me, it makes the thing better, I swear. But why are they only appearing in Shibuya? Because the grace of God wanted to protect Shibuya from the apocalypse. Okay, yep, you've lost me. We're all off. Everyone, we're officially on the crazy train. See, my issue is when someone says God, you gotta always just think that they're referring to the Catholic one, even though that's not the case. Just because we call him God. I say we. I was about to say I'm like a bespoke atheist, and then I remembered, no wait, I joined a cult that one time. I'm a Satanist now. It was a good time. If you're reading this blog, you've already guessed what I'm about to say. Last month in September 2015, the world was threatened by a greater danger than any it had ever faced before. A massive solar storm caused electronics to crash all over the world, but especially in North America and Europe. A full month has passed, but only 50% of the damage has been fixed. So why did Japan, the world's 3rd largest economy, I want that fact checked right fucking now, and in particular Shibuya, one of its biggest cities, survive almost unscathed? Yes, because the eyes of God, the third eyes, opened and created a powerful barrier. This is the truth. And this is my message to all the people of Shibuya. I want you to understand this. The faces on the sumo stickers do not belong to a sumo wrestler. They are a symbol of God. They are God. You must not take them down. That would be blasphemy. This is already too long, so I'll go into the details in my next entries. Oh, okay, we've got comments, but first things first. Who are you and why do you... Is it this Honda person that's writing these? Are there any other 40ish Chanko lovers like me who watch sumo? I don't know if that's the guy who wrote this or whether that's just some promoted thing on this blog. Sorry. F good. I'm a child. Seeing the sumo stickers, it's totally a sumo wrestler. This is some creepy shit. How many people in the world actually believed in the Egyptian calendar apocalypse? It's just something they came up with to explain why the Mayan apocalypse never happened. There were other supported dates for the apocalypse in 2015 anyway. After that, it was 2015, 2017, 2020, and then 2030. You know what? 2020 came somewhat close, but I'm still fucking here recording these Let's Plays, so... either the world's changed and I just didn't change with it, or... it was all by the by. Go through some more old myths and legends from around the world, and I'm sure you can find more. Conspiracies are just another way for power structure to control the masses. I mean, you're not wrong. A lot depends on what you assume God said. A lot depends on whether you assume God shaped Shibuya or whether he drove the rest of the world to the brink of destruction. Is it possible that Shibuya was already purified and that's why it's allowed to survive? Okay, so that's an interesting counter-argument. He already fucked that up 6 years. God saw hentai up in heaven and is like, alright, I knew I was planning to do this in 2015, but I fucking can't allow that to happen now. And then he was just like, get the fuck out of here, Japan. Tried to blow them off the face of the earth. But like cockroaches, you just carry on. How many Japanese have a real understanding of what God actually is? Yeah, because the way we talk about him, it makes it sound like I said Catholic earlier. I do mean the Christian God, but because as a white man living in the UK, you can probably understand that they don't teach as much about every other kind of God that exists out there. So I'm very ignorant whereas when it comes to like what other countries think of religion. But that's a whole other topic. Do you know how many people died in the earthquake 6 years ago? This is appropriate. This is appropriate. No, this is inappropriate. That's a whole wrong sentence. If the sumo stickers didn't actually depict a sumo wrestler, we should look at who first started calling them that. We all use the same term to describe them, which means that someone must have been the first to use it. Perhaps someone gave it that name for a reason. Maybe they wanted us to blind to the fact that the stickers were God. I feel like I've just stumbled onto some shitty occult board. Over the past few years, unneeded people have been called... Wow. Okay. Unneeded people have been called in Shibuya. Life's a balance between fun and sorrow. If it all evens out to zero, then it's not a bad life, but most people it's a net negative. Coming out at zero is the best we can hope for. So what is death then beyond the thing that no man can avoid? It's not a minus, of course. It's not a plus either. It evens out to zero. It evens out to nothing at all. They are needed a cult because they are unneeded. You could say that they were chosen because they were unneeded. The first great culling was the earthquake 6 years ago. The new generation incident was what foretold it. Shibuya now is like it was 6 years ago. God will come again to cull the unneeded. And finally, that doesn't explain why the 1999 Nostradamus prophecy, the 2012 Mayan apocalypse, and the 2015 Egyptian apocalypse were also heavily reported on by the media. It's all a load of bollocks. It's my TLDR in there. Hey, it's Hinae. What's up? Arimura?
Oh, Hinae's probably somewhere around the school. She's in charge of decorating for our class. The cafeteria, maybe? It was that girl who dragged her off.
Hey, Hinae. Food? Arimura?
She was just here, but then she said she'd help Akari's team.
This man, he gets it. Hey, Anoichi! Wanna wrestle?
Hinae? Isn't she with Haruka?
Oh, you're leaving already? You should wrestle with us, Hinae.
We're not having any luck finding out Arimura. Does she have a lot of friends? What's wrong?
Nothing, just... Are you actually really popular?
Why?
Wait, why? Everybody in second year class seemed to know who you were.
Really?
Sarika made a face like she'd only just realized it now.
Huh?
Well, I never thought of her as particularly unpopular. But even though we weren't always together, we were together often enough that I was too close to get a sense of something like that. Wait, I think a long time ago, Kurusu once told her, act a little more like a girl. You're wasting your potential.
Taku?
It's nothing. Wait, no. Did you really not know who Arimura was?
Hmm?
I mean, I don't really know, but it seems like she's pretty well networked around the school. Even if she was in a different class than you, I figured you might know her from some girls' group or something. Girls at high school had to be better connected than anybody else around, right?
I don't know. I never really thought about class groups or anything like that.
That makes sense. Act a little more like a girl.
What? You serious?
I suddenly heard a voice I remembered. Was that? I looked next to me and saw that Sarika was clinging to the window glass and looking down. I looked down and saw someone I knew walking with a group of girls toward the school gate. Let's hurry.
No, I told you. I didn't actually tell him I liked him.
I forgot I needed to prepare for this fucking voice, didn't I?
You guys were sharing an umbrella, right? You're walking through Shibuya on a rainy night? Knowing you, Akko, or actually knowing how you feel about that guy, it's only a matter of time. You think so too? You're a cabbage roll girl, after all.
What the fuck does that mean? A girl who may seem shy at first glance, but who can become extremely forceful when it comes to getting what she wants in love. The name comes from the Japanese cabbage roll, which is spiced meat wrapped in cooked cabbage. It's said that the peaceful cabbage on the outside hikes the vicious carnivore that lurks. What the fuck? Japan! Work on your analogies, mate! What the hell is this? Do you not know what graffiti means? Well, here you are.
No way! Is Akko a cabbage roll girl?
I feel like I should be doing like Valley Girl accents, but like that is only gonna end badly.
Are they going to pick up supplies?
Arimura was walking through the yard with two people who looked like they were her friends. Just like Sarika said, she wasn't helping with the decorations in the yard. She was heading straight for the gate.
Should we talk to her?
Yeah. No, actually, give me a second. I needed to get ready. What should I ask? What happened in the hotel, of course. And what did she mean about what she told me?
What about you, Haruka? Are these Isasaki? Oh, didn't I tell you? Haruka's real close with Shirai right now. No way! I had no clue. How? No, it's not that big a deal, really. So how'd that happen? Twitter? He's big into Hekihobot, and I retweeted a picture from it. So you're a cabbage roll girl too, huh? I had no idea. No, it wasn't planned, it was just a coincidence. Taku, they're leaving.
I know, but... What's with this huge gap?
Man, I'm so happy. I just feel so great.
She was nothing like the girl I'd seen in the hotel room, or even in the student council room. She was just a normal teenage girl. And if you ask me, one of the worthless ones who loved to talk about things that didn't matter. Suddenly, Arimura stopped. That's...
Taku,
Taku, that's... Now is not the time for your fantasies! This is a policeman! Well, a detective if you want to be fucking anal about the details, but... You know what? I'm gonna sit this one through and just watch it. I'm gonna be Do I want to be boring? Because we could do murder time. We haven't had a good murder time in a while. We were too into Serica in the fucking... What's it room? So we could go for some murder, right? You know what? At this point, I feel just committed to doing the whole Arimura as a murderer thing, so let's go with that. Yeah, I knew him. That was the detective who had visited the interrogation room during our questioning.
Sorry,
I gotta take care of something. Can you get the stuff for me?
Arimura suddenly bowed to the other two. They seemed to be about to say something, but they must have seen the detective and thought better of it.
We'll text you later.
They left.
Isn't that a little unreasonable?
Her voice sounded different, like someone had flipped a switch somewhere inside of her. I thought I picked the bad option. Why are we going for a fucking romantic proposal? I wanted to see you, no matter what.
But you didn't have to come all this way to my school. If they find out about us...
I don't care.
You may not care, but I do.
It felt like they were about to start a fight. What kind of relationship did they have? Was I imagining it, or was there something immoral about their relationship? I see. I'm sorry. But I want you to understand this, no matter what. I intend to protect you forever.
Even though I'm still a kid?
That doesn't matter. This is... Serica seemed confused, but I was sure about what was going on. Those two were... Wow, you could not sound less enthusiastic, Hinae.
Hey, do you love me?
Yeah. I thought I picked the bad option! Why are we here? I wanted violence and I got fucking rom-com drama. I feel deeply, like, fucking undersold on this one. Yeah, I love you. More than anyone in the world. I knew it! Oh no, it felt like I'd seen something I really shouldn't have.
You mean it?
I mean it.
If you get involved with a girl like me, your whole life might be ruined.
It doesn't matter. I told you that, didn't I?
You're a fool. You really are a fool. I'm trying to keep my distance from you, but you follow me no matter where I go. I don't want to make you unhappy.
Arimura covered her face with her hand. It looked like she was crying. The air felt heavy. It was like a scene from a movie. I won't be unhappy. Protecting you is what makes me feel happiest of all. The detective held her gently. With all of these people around? He's so bold! The two of them gazed at one another. I need more water before I go on with this because it's too fucking warm in this room. Sorry, we've reached June in the UK, and that means that it's unreasonably warm, and we don't have air conditioning. And I'm not opening my windows while I read this. You fucking kidding? The neighbors are gonna put me on some kind of watch list. You know what I'm not already on? The two of them gazed at one another. Arimura softly closed her eyes as the tears kept falling. Their lips drew ever closer. I came to my senses. If that happens, I won't investigate it. I'm not chasing gossip. I've got my pride. Normally I wouldn't even want to watch something like this.
What's gossip?
She didn't even know that. How could you be part of the newspaper club if you didn't know that? It's when you write sensational articles about a person's private life.
Is that bad?
There are a lot of gossip magazines in the world. I just don't like it is all.
Okay.
Sarika nodded and gave me a thumbs up.
I
won't do any gossip stuff then.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Arimura was ignoring me and talking with the detective, a serious look on her face. Sorry, but I don't have a lot of time. I didn't tell them I was the detective, so I hope that's good enough.
It's not about whether you're a detective or not.
The release is conditional. You know that, right?
Can we go to a cafe nearby? There's a place not many people know about.
The two of them started to walk off.
Is she going on a date with the detective?
Of course not, they're just talking about the case. And we're going to follow them! As I stood there in thought, Sarika brought her face right up to mine. It was too close, and if the other students saw, they'd get suspicious. And she smelled good, so I wanted her to stop.
What do we do, Taku?
I want to hear what they have to say. I pushed her face back just a little and looked toward the direction they'd gone off in.
Should we go then?
Yeah. She said a nearby cafe, which means... Even after being damaged by the earthquake, the Shibuya was still a mecca for fashion and culture. There are a number of cafes, even just around Hekiho Academy.
She said it was one that many people know about. I wonder if she means Cafe Lax.
Yeah, that would make sense. Newspaper club went there so often because it was so close to the school, but students rarely visited it. Pretty smart comment coming from you, Hinae.
I got a compliment.
No, not really. We nodded at each other as we went through the gate. Alright, let's go.
Okay. You two! Your usual seats taken. Huh?
I tried to motion to the waitress to get her to understand. Sarika and I finally succeeded in getting our point across.
I see. Alright, come this way.
With the perceptiveness that belied. I don't know what I said belied. With the perceptiveness that belied her ridiculous appearance, she led us to a seat near the entrance, far from our usual spot. If we put up a newspaper, maybe they couldn't spot us. We sat down and spread out a newspaper to hide our faces. I ordered myself my usual Mountain View, and Serica her grapefruit juice. Serica drew her shoulders in to make herself harder to spot.
Can you hear them?
I peeked out a little over the newspaper and motioned for her to be quiet, and then listened. People from Hekiho not come here?
Think so.
Good, it was a little hard to hear, but I could make it out. I was still amazed to find out that anyone from Hekiho but us knew about this place.
So, what's this about? I'm cooperating with the interrogations.
I just realized this a moment ago, but you're a very different person in Hekiho, aren't you? Arimura frowned a little. You're talking during the interrogations now, but you'll continue to be completely passive, I'm told. By interrogations, he must mean they were asking her about what she was doing in the Love Hotel. What was that? A file? Hinae Arimura, Class 2-3. Came to Hekiho Academy in 2014. Head of the Literature Club. Chipper and sociable. Average grades, no arrest record. No trouble with the authorities at school. This is what the school gave us on you. Besides you and a basic profile of the police bill, we know nothing about the case. Did you keep telling us you don't remember anything? The detective leaned back in his chair. I couldn't see his expression from here, but I could guess that he was frowning. Could you at least be as sociable as you are at Hekiho? Police are doing everything they can to...
That's a lie.
Her words were sharp. Arimura was glaring at the detective, as if she found his presence extremely unpleasant. That's right. I'm sorry. The detective bowed his head just a little. I couldn't see his expression. What? I and the person helping me are doing everything we can to solve this case. If nothing else, we're not your enemies. Arimura fell silent for a moment, as if considering his words. What? What were they talking about?
I'm not deliberately being uncooperative with the investigation. I just can't answer the question. When I say I have no memories of what happened before, during or after the incident, I'm telling the truth.
Is there anything else you can tell us? For instance, about your relationship with Hironori Kakita, the murder victim. My heart started beating faster. Taku? The murder victim? The police had declared the Love Hotel incident revolving dead as suicide. I leaned forward even more. I couldn't afford to miss a word of this.
By us, you mean yourself and the other person, correct?
Yeah, the police have nothing to do with this. Arimura thought for a second.
Kakita was helping me.
Helping you? With that issue?
Yes, of course. We would sometimes meet in a place where we could be anonymous and exchange information.
How did you meet him? What's wrong?
He was a friend of my brother's.
Wasn't your brother caught in the earthquake and...
Stop it. My brother, my family has nothing to do with this.
Arimura's voice sounded genuinely pained. The detective fell silent for a moment, allowing her words to echo through the room. All right.
Hi, Shinjo.
Yes, this is Shinjo. Yeah. Yeah, we're all right. I'll be back in 10. Get it ready. The detective stood up. I quickly scrunched my shoulders together and leaned close to the newspaper. The detective knew our faces. I couldn't let him see me. Oh, right. Before I go. Have you seen this before? The detective took out something like a file. That's a yes. And Arimura jerked backwards and looked away, frowning. What's wrong?
I know it, but I don't like that sticker.
Did she say sticker?
What about it?
She was still looking away as she spat out the words. You're aware of the video taken at the scene at the hotel was uploaded to the internet, right? It seems it was uploaded from a free Wi-Fi spot in Shibuya. We still haven't found the guy who did it, but... the sticker was placed right where we believe the camera had to have been. Do you know anything about it?
No, not really. Just that it's creepy. You see them all over town, right? Close that thing up, please.
Arimura refused to look at it. The detective put it away. I'm sure. There's no way this thing has anything to do with the case. This time he turned to go for real. From now on, please try to be a little more cooperative with the guys at the station.
I told you, there's nothing I can say to them.
You don't have to tell them anything. But some of the brass aren't happy with your conditional release. They prefer to do things by the book. If you're so chipper and cheerful at Hekio, it should be easy for you, right? Arimura sighed, a very exaggerated sigh.
Just so we're clear. It's really hard for a teenage girl to act like a teenage girl these days, you know?
You're right, the world's fucking depressing, isn't it, Arimura? Crap. Good, they didn't spot us. By the way, there are no others like you as of right now, right?
Nope! Come back soon!
That scared me.
Taku,
shouldn't we leave before Arimura does?
You're right. Things could get complicated if she caught me listening in. I paid for our drinks and headed for the exit.
Come back soon!
Just as I was about to leave,
Whatever happens, it isn't my problem.
Arimura was all the way in the back, but I could hear her voice clearly. October 6th, 2015. Tuesday. 4 days before the next murder, I think. 9 p.m. In front of Shibuya Station. The place was as crowded and noisy as ever. The footsteps of people rushing to the station to get home after work. The voices of people talking into their phones about where they were going to meet for drinks. The screams of joy as old friends were reunited. It all blended together, and it all had an effect on anyone who passed through it, even if for a moment. 6 years after the Shibuya quake, the city had been rebuilt to the point where there was nothing left to remind you of it. Everything was up and running again. Until a few years ago, many people would stop and stare and wonder at how everything was new, but not anymore. The slogan of the restoration efforts, Shibuya, a city reborn, had such an effect on people that the past was beginning to be forgotten. At least for people who weren't in Shibuya during the earthquake. Just a 1-minute walk away from the station was the Shibuya Earthquake Memorial. Oh, Kurusu. Kurusu made sure to visit once every week. She would put a flower down by the name of her best friend from elementary school and pray silently. It was only a short distance from the heart of the city, but the noise and commotion didn't reach this place. This place was somberly constructed and pure, as if it were to be separated from all that. Today was October 6th. The quake was on November 6th, so it was the same day as the month. Maybe that's why there were so many flowers. Some of them were lying scattered on the ground. There was no one around. Sometimes people would come around 10:30 p.m. when the earthquake struck, but other than that, the place was mostly empty at night. Man, these stills from these freaking... They just make great pieces of artwork, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm probably gonna use this as a desktop background, it's so good. Like, I still use some of the Steins Gate ones. I'm just gonna keep friggin' adding to it. Kurusu went around the area, grabbing up all the scattered flowers she could and putting them on nearby days. Days? I don't know. She'd done it many times before. It was all part of her routine.
What do I do?
Kurusu was thinking about what happened a few days before, and about her younger brother Miyashiro. Oh shit, she heard that. That's a concern. She'd heard it clearly. Hinae Arimura had said those words to Miyashiro.
Takeru.
No, that was impossible. There was no way her brother was about to get caught up in something because of what he'd learned. A sudden wind blew the flowers out of her hand. They scattered away from her. All she could do was watch. For a moment, she tried to reach out and grab them, but her hand clawed uselessly in the air. Before the feelings overwhelmed her, she turned toward the place where her friend's name was carved.
Hey.
She rubbed it gently. The familiar sensation came to her through her fingers.
What do I do?
But the name, Senri Minamisawa, It shouldn't have taken me so many attempts to read that. But the name, Senri Minamisawa, just echoed the question back to her.